Hello and welcome to the Bot Box. The configuration of Panic Attack's team in Series 2 is different to every other time Panic Attack was in Robot Wars. One of the original team members, Kevin Pritchard, returned for Series 3 Robot Wars, but not on Panic Attack's team, which I think I mentioned in Panic Attack's episode. Nope, Kevin Pritchard returned for Series 3 with this week's subject, Evil Weevil. Evil Weevil was a flat robot designed to look like a beetle or weevil, had a black front section and little antennae like a beetle or a weevil, and had green, yellow and black stripes on the back, which I think would indicate that in the wild Evil Weevil would be poisonous. Anyway, Evil Weevil was armed with a lifter, like Panic Attack, and the ends of the lifter were painted red, like Panic Attack's actually. It made its debut in Series 3 of Robot Wars, making its debut not in battle, but in robotic football, against Box Wedge Alien. Evil Weevil got the ball early on, but sent it far away from the goal, as in the opposite end of the arena, before abandoning the ball. Evil Weevil then tried to retrieve the ball, but had to deal with Matilda being in the way, not helped by Evil Weevil driving into the arena walls multiple times before both the ball and Evil Weevil got out. Evil Weevil electing to push Alien into a wall and along the wall once Alien got the ball, but Alien too abandoned the ball at an arena wall, so Evil Weevil took the opportunity to try and free the ball, but had no joy. This spike knocked Alien onto its side, which immobilised it, but House Robot rescued Evil Weevil. This is, after all, robotic football, not combat. So, Evil Weevil made a couple of attempts at actually getting a goal, but they all failed, and cease was called. Time ran out on the football match. Evil Weevil won that one because it did actually make an attempt at getting a goal. We'll get back to the robotic football in a bit. It's time to talk about Evil Weevil's fights. It found a home in Heat L and first faced Spikebot Triterabot. Triterabot drove into Evil Weevil early on but got lifted, though for some reason Evil Weevil ended up too close to Sergeant Bash, but it backed away. Both ended up stuck on the spikes outside Sergeant Bash's corner. Triterabot had less trouble with the spikes than Evil Weevil, so Triterabot was able to lift Evil Weevil and get it stuck on the arena wall. Evil Weevil got free and sent Triterabot to Sergeant Bash and to kill before Triterabot got stuck to Evil Weevil. Basically, Triterabot spiked Evil Weevil and couldn't get the spike out. Triterabot also let out the magic smoke, which normally would precede fire, but not in Triterabot's case. In Triterabot's case, it preceded absolutely nothing. Evil Weevil managed to push itself, or get free after a pushing ball, and when it attacked Triterabot again, Evil Weevil managed to get Triterabot on its side, and from there, Triterabot could not self-right. Evil Weevil tried to send Triterabot into the pit, but failed, and it kept trying, but it couldn't do much as the house robots, Dead Metal and Shunt in particular, swarmed Evil Weevil, or not Evil Weevil, Triterabot. There wasn't much room for Evil Weevil to get in. Evil Weevil did try to fight Shunt. It is related to Panic Attack after all, but Shunt axed Evil Weevil. Anyway, Evil Weevil won. Next up for Evil Weevil was axe-wielding Axelbot Flip Flop Fly. Evil Weevil, for reasons best known by its creators, spun around early on, drawing Flip-Flop-Fly in before giving Flip-Flop-Fly intermittent nudges. In the process, Evil Weevil lost an antenna, got too close to Shunt, and got axed. Evil Weevil got out of there and sent Flip-Flop-Fly to Shunt, but it too escaped, and Evil Weevil sent Flip-Flop-Fly back to Shunt. And the house robots swarmed Flip-Flop-Fly. By the time Skillalot released Flip-Flop-Fly, it had a puncture. And cease was called. Evil Weevil made the heat final where it faced tracked Spikebot Panzer. Evil Weevil took the scenic route to get to Panzer, which just flat out wasn't moving. Evil Weevil pushed Panzer into a wall. Pushed it so that its side was against the wall. And backed off when Skillalot rocked up, but rescued Panzer from Skillalot. Skillalot was about to snip Panzer's tracks. That's rude. However, Evil Weevil sent Panzer to an angle grinder. Go figure. Evil Weevil backed away again as Skillalot picked up, spun, and roasted Panzer. Roasted Panzer on Sergeant Bash's flamethrower. So that got Evil Weevil to the series semi-finals, and they didn't want to face Panic Attack. Not until the final. So, the good news for Evil Weevil's team, they did not get Panic Attack. They weren't even in the same semi-final as Panic Attack. They drew Horizontal Spinner Hypnodisc instead. And lo, as it is written, if you get through an easy heat in Series 3 of Robot Wars, your luck will run out in the semi-finals. Trident had the same thing when it got through an easy heat and got Chaos 2. So, yeah, the Dual Gods were not playing nice. Evil Weevil drove out, but when Hypnodisc did the same, Evil Weevil spun around, came into contact with Hypnodisc before deciding to stay well away from the spinner. Alas, Evil Weevil drove into Dead Metal's corner. Evil Weevil got out, but ended up taking a barrage of hits from Hypnodisc before a sudden change of driver occurred, Kevin Pritchard taking the controls. But Hypnodisc kept attacking, sending Evil Weevil to Skillalot. That was where Evil Weevil just stopped moving. It went foot, it died, it no longer working, kaput. And got attacked by the house robots. So, now we can go back to the robotic football final, where Evil Weevil faced Rammer Velociraptor, Scoopbot the General, and Grabber Nasher. Evil Weevil was out of focus early on and was the last robot to get near the ball. Nasher had the ball early on, Velociraptor went foot and died. Evil Weevil finally got into focus when it had a tussle with Matilda for the ball. Evil Weevil got the ball but ended up losing it, and the ball ended up with the General and then back at a wall. Great going, robots. Meanwhile, Evil Weevil turned Nasher over. The General also went foot. It slowly stopped. And once again, Evil Weevil tussled with Matilda for the ball. This time, Matilda got the ball into the arena, into the open space of the arena, but Evil Weevil was slowly dying and failed to take advantage of this. So, Sergeant Bash, flamethrower-wielding house robot, set the ball on fire. And this is only the second and the final time that happened in robotic football. And it only happens in robotic football. I don't think a World Cup match has had the ball actively catch fire. Anyway, Velociraptor woke up and the ball was still on fire as time ran out and the judges were called in. They ruled in favour of Evil Weevil. So, yay, they get a trophy. Don't think anyone ever won the World Cup without scoring a goal, though. Evil Evil Weevil returned for Series 4, now bronze, aside from the tips of the lifters, they were still red. And as well as the lifter, Evil Weevil had a hammer with which to attack robots. Its exploits in Series 3 also earned Evil Weevil a nice shiny seed nibber next to its name. It was the 12th seed. It found a home in Heat K, where it drew Crusher Tiberius and Mousetrap on Wheels, Mousetrap, made by the people who made Triterabot. Evil Weevil made a target of Tiberius early on, going for head-on attacks. Slightly bold, considering Tiberius's weaponry. Evil Weevil failed to land a hammer blow. Mousetrap then tried to attack Evil Weevil but missed. Evil Weevil then drove away a little bit and went out of focus as Mousetrap and Tiberius fought. Mainly Tiberius attacking Mousetrap, because Evil Weevil had stopped moving. Why had Evil Weevil stopped moving? Because its batteries had gone flat. So the house robot swarmed, attacked, Sergeant Bash cooked Evil Weevil, and it flew air floor flipper. Now, ahead of the fight, all but one of Evil Weevil's sets of batteries were fully charged. There was one that was assumed to be fully charged. It was put in Evil Weevil, but it turned out to be the one set of batteries they had that weren't fully charged, and that is why Evil Weevil stopped moving like that. I need to facepalm. Right, we're done with that. Anyway, Evil Weevil did not return for that. It may or may not have qualified for Series 5, but either way it was not there. But Kevin Pritchard did eventually return in Series 7, back on Panic Attack's team. Evil Weevil wasn't a bad robot, and of course it will always be in Panic Attack's shadow. It was in a kind heat. However, I have to say there is no shame in going out Hypnodisc. And it's a shame that their Series 4 run ended the way it did. I'm sure they felt bad that their run ended so quickly in Series 4. It would have been interesting to see how Evil Weevil would have dealt with a trickier draw, but as it stands, you can only face who you got in front of you, and Evil Weevil still had to get through that heat. It's not their fault. You can't pick your draw. They were lucky with the robotic football, though. I mean, they didn't score a goal and they still won. Anyway, who's next? Taiki, please be kind. So many robots here. Got this one. Let's see what it is. Going with the wrong name. Bot out of hell! Okay. Why did I get that one at Halloween? That would be perfect. Until next week, Callison244, out.